Hi everyone, Janey here along with
Michael Glassman.
We are back for the final Solving Problems in the Landscape video out of the Solving Problems in the Landscape series. It's been so fun. We've done what, seven? This is our 7th video. I will link the playlist in the description down below. And today we are talking about
solving problems with plants.
Solving problems with plants,
Yes.
right? So you know that this video is near and dear to my heart.
This is her favorite.
I love plants. I love talking about plants. I love how interesting plants are. So it's a little chilly out here. We're going to head into the office and we will talk about plants that can solve problems in your garden. All right, are you ready to get started talking about my favorite topic?
Plants.
Plants. So let's get started with a problem in the landscape that's pretty common. A lot of people have this problem, and that is what I like to call weird lighting.
Yes.
The technical term, the right term for it is transitional areas, sun transitional areas. And what I mean by that is an area in your garden that maybe in the wintertime when a deciduous tree has lost all its leaves, it's full sun, and then in the summertime, it's full shade, or vice versa, something that's maybe on the north side of a house or a fence with the sun being low, it's full shade, and then as the sun gets higher in the sky, it's full sun. Did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And one thing that I will recommend to your viewers is it kind of makes sense to do a little diagram of the way your house is situated. Mm-hmm. North, south, east, and west. And it sounds so basic, but I find I get caught up in the same thing. You know, the sun rises in the east.
It's a lot to think about.
Yeah, it rises in the east, it sets in the west. So that in the east, you get morning sun. Mm-hmm. In the west, you get hot afternoon sun. Mm-hmm. Southern exposure, you get most of the day sun. Northern exposure, you get less sun. And the reason I tell you that is because it makes it a lot easier when you go, oh, I'm working on the northern side of my house. It's pretty shady, so I can do the plants that can take more shade.
Right.
And again, the caveat, which you just said, the transitional areas, you may have an area that gets full sun, but you've got a big shade tree over it.
Yeah.
So it no longer gets full sun. So I recommend in our problem solving, the first thing that I always tell my clients are at least identify north, south, east, and west, what walls are facing morning sun, what walls are going to get afternoon sun, where is the sun coming from? It'll help you in terms of plant selection.
That's a great tip. Yeah. Kind of start off at the beginning. One thing that I like to do is I like to just cheat and choose plants that can handle a whole bunch of different varieties of sun or shade. My favorite one that I talk about all the time is the Surefire Rose. Or not Surefire Rose, Surefire Begonia. Surefire Rose is my favorite variety of the Surefire Begonia. And we were just looking at the Surefire White in my shade garden, what I call my shade garden that is actually a sun garden, because in the middle of summer when the sun is way up high, it is full bright sun. But then in this time of the year, which is closer to winter, it is full shade. So plants that can handle all lighting requirements, full sun to full shade, are really going to be useful in sun transition areas like that. And a begonia is a fabulous, fabulous option.
I love that. And I was just visiting, and God, that is amazing.
So what's your opinion on boxwoods?
I actually like them, and I'll tell you why in certain locations.
Yeah.
In a wild garden, no, I would never use a boxwood. If you want formality, if you want a hedge, if you want an Italian garden, an English garden, a French garden, having a boxwood is wonderful because they can be pruned to whatever shape. In fact, in my travels, I went to some gardens where they got no water, and boxwoods are extremely drought tolerant.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah, they're amazing. They're also deer resistant.
Yeah.
So in the right place. But if you're trying to do a meadow and a wild garden, a boxwood, no, it would look ridiculous.
Yeah. One of the great things about boxwoods, though, and I think probably one of the reasons why they're so popular, is that they can handle shade.
Yep.
And they can handle sun.
Yeah.
Right? So if you have a really difficult area, I know I have plenty of those areas, a boxwood might be a really, really good option to have.
And keep in mind design. Now, we're talking design. I'm a designer. your theme is wild, natural. You want a meadow look and everything, but you have one area, which is what you have, one area on the side of your house that you only see from a certain windows or when you go into it. You don't see it from anywhere else. You can at that point use that side yard. Can be formal. You walk into it, it's a different room. It's like rooms in your house.
Love it.
You can walk in there, use the boxwoods, do the formality just in that area. You haven't departed from the wild look at the rest of the space,
right?
But it's just one room, like in your house would be a dining room or a living room. This would be one room that's more formal, and that's where a boxwood would come in.
Love it. So a couple other options of plants that do really, really well in sun transition areas are Dirvellas, right? Kodiak Jack is a beautiful, beautiful one. I've actually never planted it, but it's definitely on my list. It has gorgeous dark foliage in the spring and the fall, fades a little bit in the summer, but it can handle shade and sun, which is an absolute fantastic plant to have, especially when you have a problem area, right? There's also Abelias.
Abelias are really nice, and they've got some new varieties that are killer.
They're gorgeous, gorgeous. And then my hands down favorite plant of all time is a plant that is going to be able to handle a sun transition area. It's called Mystic Spires Blue, or plain the blue salvia.
I love those. Oh my God, those are beautiful.
Those plants. Not only are they so beautiful and they bloom almost season long, but they can handle sun and shade, which is fabulous.
Some of the Mahonias are really wonderful, and they've got different varieties. The Mahonia aquifolium, the traditional Oregon grape, can take sun and shade. And it's a native, and it flowers, and it's an evergreen. But the new offshoot that I just recently saw was the Soft Caress.
I love that plant.
That's one of my favorites.
Oh, I cannot wait. I want it all over in my garden because it's so pretty.
It's so pretty, and it blooms that yellow, and it's very delicate. So a lot of times, as you're looking at your plants and that we're listing them, there may be a variety, like a Mahonia, that will have a sun variety, a shade variety, or a transitional that can take sun and shade.
Yeah. So if you have a really difficult spot in your garden and you kind of think, I don't know if this is shade, I don't know if this is sun, just make it easy on yourself and pick one of these plants that can handle both. Then you just don't have to worry about it.
I agree.
Now, another sun weird lighting situation that I hear all the time, and I have a problem with it as well, is morning shade, afternoon sun, right?
Yes.
To me, that is the hardest part of your garden to plant.
And that's a western exposure.
Yes.
And the biggest people make the most mistakes with that because it's shady all morning long.
And you think, oh, you plant some shade plants here.
Right. And then the hot afternoon sun comes barreling down. It's 105, and it's interesting. It doesn't have to be for a long period of time.
Nope.
It can be for 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But as I try to explain to people, imagine taking a magnifying glass and putting it on a plant you can put the sun on it. You can burn anything, a piece of paper, after about 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Now imagine the sun beating down at 105 degrees. It'll turn it into a crispy critter.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So it's definitely a very, very difficult garden bed to plant in western exposure.
Western exposure.
I gotta put a vote in for my favorite plant, Mystic Spires Blue.
I love that.
It can handle western exposure absolutely no problem. It can handle it. Rudbeckia, that's another one that does really, really well in western exposure.
Agapanthus.
Oh, yeah, that's
which
a good
is
one.
Not my most favorite, but I will say.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Okay, so I just have to say, Agapanthus, it's very common here.
It's very common here.
There are people who cannot plant Agapanthus, and they think of it as like the coolest plant that ever lived. Yeah. And we're sitting here like, it's fine.
The dark purple one. That's beautiful. The little one, the small dwarf one, but that can take sun and shade. What I said before, the Mahonia.
Yes, Mahonia is beautiful. Yarrow is another really, really good example of ones that can handle it. And daylily.
Daylilies.
I feel like daylily can handle just about anything.
Just about anything.
Yeah, so daylilies can handle western exposure. Sedums can handle western exposure. Catmints can handle western exposure.
The Nepeta,
Yeah, so just kind of look around. Trust me when I say, I get you. I feel you. I get messages about this too.
Jasmine.
Oh, good one.
Star jasmine is amazing. It can take sun or shade.
Yeah.
You can blast it out with sun, but it also will grow really well in shade.
I love that plant.
I do too.
I love it.
I mean, the only reason that people are really hesitant is causes allergies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take some allergy pills.
Allergies,
Just kidding.
right.
Just kidding. I love that plant.
Yeah.
All right. So another problem in the garden that we often hear about and talk about is areas in your garden that are just past the reach of your hose, right? Or have no access to water. It's definitely a really difficult thing. And in our last video, we were talking about drought tolerant plants, how they're not technically drought. They still need water, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So when you're picking out plants for an area of your garden that doesn't have access to water, first thing I would say is plant in the fall.
In the fall,
right?
Yep.
The weather's cooler. You're going to have a little bit more rain. There's not going to be as much stress, and it's going to give those plants a chance to establish its root system before it gets really stressed during the summer not having water. Another thing that I would say is take care of the plants, go and hand water them with a watering can or something like that for at least the first year, right?
Yeah,
if not even a little bit more. Because again, we want to establish those plants.
Yeah.
But then you want to make sure that you're planting plants that are either drought tolerant or what's known as xeriscape plants. And that means those are plants that don't need a lot of water. Still need water, right? But don't need a lot of water. You want to look for really fleshy stemmed plants. So basically, plants have made adaptations to be able to handle prolonged periods of drought, of no water, and fleshy stems,
right,
like you would see in a sedum or even a bearded iris, the fleshy rhizome.
Mangave,
absolutely. And that allows the plant to take from its fleshy stems, its fleshy leaves, its fleshy rhizomes. So it's basically holding itself over until it has a chance to get water from rain in the next rainstorm or something like that.
Yuccas they're extremely drought tolerant. They're dog tolerant.
Dog tolerant.
My dog will not go near the yucca. But I'm amazed how well they do. And some of the new varieties, there's a red yucca, there's a variegated one, some of the new varieties, I mean, they're beautiful.
Yeah.
They really are beautiful. And especially if you do masses of them, they're very architectural.
Another adaptation that plants take to deal with periods of no water is they either get kind of like a hairy covering on their leaves, like lamb's ear, right, is a good example of that. Or sometimes they get a really woody covering to prevent them from losing the water, which is a good example is like lavender or something like that. Another example of plants that really don't need water for prolonged period of times is Artemisia.
Oh yeah, right? I love that. Sagebrush.
So having a difficult area in your garden that's just past the reach of your hose, or for some reason you can't get your drip irrigation system there are plants that you can choose that really can solve the problem that you're having.
Right.
You just kind of have to think about it and do your research and find out what plants are going to work well.
Privacy is another area. We did a whole video on that. Mm-hmm. Some of my favorite plants, again, I love the Podocarpus gracilior.
I love that plant.
I love that plant. I love that plant. And mine are growing 3 feet a year.
Yes.
I mean, but the thing that I love about it, and it goes back to the maintenance, you can prune them. They can be espaliate. You can prune them. You can cut them back, and they're easy to take care of, and they don't look stressed when you cut them back.
Yeah.
I truly love. It's funny. Photinia.
You like Photinia?
It's not my favorite, but I will tell you, in the right location, Photinia can be great.
Photinia is one of the best privacy plants.
Yes.
I mean, really a fantastic privacy plant. I can't get on board with Photinia.
I know a lot of people don't like it, but
although someone sent me a picture when I said before I didn't like Photinia. One of you sent me a picture to show me yours. You're right. It was beautiful. Like, it was beautiful.
Privacy. Oh, this is going to get your viewers are just going to go crazy when I say this. Bamboo.
Okay. Hold on. Explain the type of bamboo you're talking about.
Clumping bamboo, not running bamboo, not running that has rhizomes that's going to go in your neighbor's yard.
So there is a difference. Because when he first started talking about bamboo, I almost went, hold on, I'm not putting that on a video.
Bamboo is there's running and clumping. Running bamboo, which is like black bamboo, it runs. It's got rhizomes. It can run like 5, 6, 7 feet and come up in the neighbor's yard all over.
You can't get rid of it.
You can't get rid of it. It's very invasive. But clumping bamboo is like any other plant, and it kind of stays put. But I'm going to say this honestly. I love the look of it. It's the big giant timber bamboo. It is the messiest. Freaking messiest thing you will ever. We did that in our old house. It was gorgeous to get rid of a 2-story house. It gave us lots of privacy. I spent more time on this little courtyard keeping it clean because of the leaves dropping than I do in my entire place now that's 3 times the size. So,
but what you just said, it blocked out a 2-story house. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe plant something in front of it so you don't see the mess. But when you specifically have a privacy problem and you don't know what to do, it's an option.
It's an option. And if you want to go more of an Asian slant, it's I mean, there is nothing more dramatic than these big canes with lights on it. I mean, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Thuyas.
Yes.
Thuyas. For those people that don't like Italian cypress because they think they're too columnar and they look like pencils, the thuya is a good answer because you can put them close together. It's a botanical name, is, by the way, is arborvitae, and they're really good because you can put them close together and they'll grow as a screen, but they're not just a little pencil.
And I love them because they give such a beautiful backdrop. It's a gorgeous green backdrop. What about Indian laurel?
Indian laurel is great. Any of the laurels, English laurel, big leaf, wonderful privacy screen. Bay laurel, bay leaf, Laurus nobilis, it's what we use for cooking. Bay laurel, drought tolerant, doesn't need a lot of water, it does drop berries, but it's a great plant. Pineapple guavas, mine are growing like weeds and they are beautiful.
Gorgeous, gorgeous. So again, just check. There's a lot of privacy options that you can choose. By just planting a plant, makes all the difference in the world.
Absolutely.
All right. So another problem in the garden, we actually haven't talked about this problem, right? And I think it's a good one. I think it's an important one to think about. But if you have a tiny budget, if you don't have a lot of money to spend on plants, because plants can be expensive, there are so many ways that you can get around that, and you can find plants that you can put in your garden that will give you a huge, huge bang for your buck. And I kind of want you guys to think of it in the terms of annuals, perennials, and shrubs, because they're kind of different. As for annuals, I would say, hands down, biggest bang for your buck plant, Supertunia Vista bubblegum. Right?
Yeah.
You buy one $10 can of a plant and it's going to cover an absolute huge area of your garden. Maybe something that you would have to buy 6 or 7 other annual plants to fill up, you buy one of them and it just makes the biggest difference in the world. I feel that way about superbenas as well. They will spread so much, and if you live in a warm area like we are, they'll actually be temperennials, perennials for you, and they're going to spread and they're going to be gorgeous. Another gorgeous annual for a great bang for your buck is the Suncredible sunflower. Really big. Blooms all season long. Again, you buy one of these plants and you're going to get such a show all season long.
Impatiens.
Gorgeous. Love impatiens.
As long as they don't get too much sun where they burn up. But yes, I put in a little, I mean, it was a pony pack one in my pot. I mean, the thing is stunning.
Yeah. It really, if you choose the right plant, it can really make a big difference. And then even think about starting from seed. The cost of a pack of zinnia seeds is nothing. And if you just put the time and energy into sowing those zinnias, you could have a full garden full of beautiful annual zinnias, and really it's going to be absolutely beautiful. Now, of course, it's always hard to think about annuals because annuals only last for one season. You have to do it all over again next year. But there are so many perennials that you can start from seed as well, right?
Yes, and also like, for example, iris, the rhizomes.
Oh, 100%. Those can be divided and divided. Yeah. So perennials that we can start from seed, geraniums are a fabulous option. Penstemon is a really good option as well. Native columbine is a great one. Lupin is a great one.
Oh, poppy. Well, it's an annual.
Poppy Kim. Well, yeah, but it reseeds. Is it an annual, right?
Yeah.
So really, there's a lot of options that you can choose.
So lupin's a really good one. Yeah, I've done that from seed before.
Yeah. And then another plant that I love that I think is one of the best bang for your buck plants is purple fountain grass.
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
I mean, you can't. I don't know about you guys, but here in California, you can get a giant one for $10, right? And it will come back every year. You divide it, and so you get more and more and more and more of this purple fountain grass. So really, you don't need a ton of money.
It's true.
To plant up your garden. You can find cheap and easy ways to do it. There's always propagation.
There's always propagation. There's always garage sales where people want to get. It's true.
100%. Yeah. And then there are plants that you can buy small, right? And they're going to grow so big and so fast for you. Flowering maple. A Butylon is a really good example. Those can get up to 10 feet tall. You buy just a normal pot, right? Maybe $10 or something like that. It's gonna. Some varieties will get taller than you, and it's gonna be beautiful.
Datura or Brugmansia, the angel trumpet.
Yes.
You do not need a big one. You can get a little teeny 4-inch pot, and it gets and it comes in a lot of different colors.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Mine didn't make it because my dog sat on it, but you know.
Oh, because they're poisonous.
They are.
I was gonna say your dog ate it.
Well, he didn't eat it. He sat on it.
He sat on it.
And I planted it. I was babying it. It was doing well, and the next thing I know, it was half dead, and I realized he had laid on top of it.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. So I, earlier before I started going really crazy with this YouTube channel, I used to belong to a gardening club, and I loved that because you could trade plants. Some plants are really easy to divide, and so you could divide your plants and trade them with other people, maybe in your garden club or other gardeners that you know. So that's another way that you can really, really pack out your garden if you are on a tight budget and you don't want to spend a lot of money. There are definitely ways that you can get plants in your garden for cheap to nothing.
And then when you buy it, for example, roses, if you buy them bare root.
Yeah.
They're fruit trees, bare root.
Which is better anyway. It's better
yes,
to plant.
Bare root roses, bare root fruit trees. A lot of times at different times of the year, getting some of your plants in peat pots.
Yes.
That's early spring or late winter. They're less expensive because the grower doesn't have to pay for the pot.
Yeah.
But it's a great way to get plants at a discount price.
Love it. All right, the next issue in the garden that plants can solve a problem for. Do you have black walnut? Have you ever worked around a black walnut?
I've never worked around a black walnut.
Oh boy, you lucky. So we happen to have a black walnut. Well, I should say my neighbor has a black walnut that's very close to the fence line. If it was on my fence line, I would definitely cut it out, even though that doesn't do anything. So black walnut secretes a chemical called jugalone. And unfortunately, quite a lot of plants are very sensitive to this chemical and will not be able to survive under there. So if you do have a black walnut in your garden, which I have to, it's a very beautiful tree.
It's a beautiful tree.
It's a gorgeous tree. It's so hard to grow things underneath a black walnut tree. But there are plants that are jugalone tolerant. All ornamental grasses are jugalone tolerant. Begonias, that surefire begonia is growing beautifully. Amazing. Monarda or bee balm is a great one. Daylily is a great one. Redbuds are a great one. Smooth hydrangeas are a good one. There's a lot of plants that are jugalone tolerant.
How about coral bells?
That's right. Yeah, that is another one.
So there's something we need to share with you.
Yes. So, something very exciting.
Yeah, something very exciting. So we just finished 7 videos on solving problems in the landscape. And we hope you enjoy it. Some are watching it. Hopefully you get a lot of information from it. But there was actually a reason behind the video. Janey and I are doing a book.
Yes, we are very excited. We've been working on it for a couple months now.
Yes.
We're coming to the end.
And the book is called Solving Problems in the Landscape.
What do you know?
Wow. And the whole idea was, we thought, if we do a video and then we turn around and we write a chapter about that, but we flush it out, we give you a lot more plants, we give you a lot more before and after pictures, we give you a lot more resources and everything.
Inspiration.
Yeah. What a great tool. What a great thing for you to be able to have, because you can watch the video and then open the book. And for example, if you're doing drainage, it would be very hard to watch the whole video if you're looking for a certain kind of a drain.
Yeah.
But if you open the book and there it is, oh, I want a channel drain. Oh, there's where I can get one.
Right.
So we came up with that idea and we thought, what a perfect marriage to have a video series with a book with lots of pictures, lots of resources, lots of names, lots of everything that you can refer to that. And so we're excited. So yes, we're hoping the book will come out next year.
Yeah. Early next year is kind of the goal. We'll keep you all updated, but we're super excited about it.
Yes.
And I've had Michael come and be on the channel before and flip through your inspiration book, right?
Yes.
Of all the properties that he's designed and he kind of references back to. And we were thinking of a way to get some of those pictures accessible to all of you.
Absolutely.
And so those are going to be in the book as well.
Absolutely.
As well as all of the plants that we talk about, a lot of references that you can go back and you can look and say, oh, what were those privacy plants that they were talking about, right? Just really easy ways for you to look back and you to reference and you to get inspired to solve problems in your garden.
Exactly. And one of the reasons we asked, like for example, when we were doing critters, what have you used? It wasn't just for, oh, we'll read these. We're using some of those ideas in the book because you've been successful. And so we want to share your ideas or what you've used that have been successful. And even for those of you, just to say, I have never seen, I've never experienced an armadillo.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, right.
So when we did the critters in the garden landscape, someone said, well, you didn't talk about armadillos.
And it was like,
I didn't know that was an issue.
Exactly. So we're reading the comments. It's very important because we're trying to incorporate a lot of your feedback into the book because again, we're still in the process of writing it and it should be very reasonably priced.
Yes.
But a lot of before and after pictures, a lot of inspiration.
And my goal is to make it beautiful enough for it to be a coffee table book.
Exactly.
That's what we're working on.
That's our news. That's where we've been kind of keeping it under wraps until we finish the last video, which we just did.
So thank you all so much for watching. I'll link the playlist to all of these videos in the description down below. But again, stay tuned because the book is coming soon. I'll also link a link to get signed up for the newsletter, and that will be the first indication of when the book is on sale and available. So make sure you sign up for the Dig Plant Water Repeat newsletter, and we'll let you know the minute it comes out.
Absolutely. We're very excited.
So a huge thank you. I hope you all enjoyed this, and I hope you all have a chance to get in your garden today. I can't talk. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Monty! God!
And the only thing we have to do is the intro.